everybody, and welcome to week 2 of character design in our masterclass. I just want to thank all of our partners in making this project happen. So we have the Canada Council for the Arts, and we have our library partners. We have the Blue Mountains Public Library, Collingwood Public Library, and the Wasaga Beach Public Library. So just in terms of what we'll be doing, today's workshop is defining the character look, and yeah, I just want to really thank everyone for coming here. If you haven't signed up, we have week 3 and 4, so make sure you sign up for those, and that will give you access to the sessions and give you reminders as well. I will be putting up Jeff's email later on too in the session, so you can always go back to sending him an email if you have any questions about what we're doing, and as you work on your character design, feel free to reach out, and he can give you some feedback, advice, and problem solve if you're stuck on something as well. So really excited to have Jeff with us here, and yeah, let me pass it right over to him. So here we go. Here's Jeff.
Great, thank you, Tom, and welcome everyone again to another session here. And we're this is another fun session going into the character design, and we are going to refine our characters. Last week we explored just sketching and trying to find something that would be attractive to a reader, attractive to us as artists, as we try to draw them day after day, week after week. We eventually find the character we want to use, and it's funny how this can be such a difficult process. But once you've landed on something that you're going to use, it'll just come back naturally. You'll find that the character will, as you draw it and as you become familiar with the character, and I'm talking about mentally and all aspects of character development. You'll come to know them as actual people, and I think this is a really interesting part for a cartoonist, is that they become real people to you. You are real characters; they're real individuals, and they when you solidify that in your mind, they'll become easier to draw on paper or on iPad as it would go. So today we're going to talk about a couple of things that I find is very important for a character, and that's based on my animation experience, my comic strip experience, and it has to be simple. Make it simple is simple is the very basic concept that you have to think of. So that's always number one. Make the character as simple as possible. The other thing, the character should move easily. You should be able to pose it, him or her, in such a way that they pose easily. They move into different situations. And we did an earlier session in cartoon movement, about movement and how to do that. We did the gesture drawings last week. And as far as character development, each character in your feature, whether it's a film or a animation or a comic strip, should be distinct from every other character in the strip. And that can be, as I was saying, it can be totally distinct from another, but still similar traits that connect them in the same feature, so that they're like the same universe, basically. And as different as they might be, you might have one very worried, anxious character that's your lead, that always is. I think of a few comic strips that had that theme, where the lead character was the anxious, gee, what's going to happen now? And then they'd have the wild, crazy, unworried, and kind of the opposite character as their backup or as their sidekick. And that's kind of a common theme in animation and in comic strips. So but they were still similar. You saw a lot of similar traits in them. So and the face. We're going to explore facial expressions too. You need to be able to do a lot of facial acting. I think this is the way I approach it. Do some facial gestures when you've got your design down, and your shapes are. The design is basically a series of shapes, as we'll see, and then explore the face shape and explore how you can explore make the face act facial acting and gestures, and that'll really help you develop the character in your mind. It'll help solidify it and purify it. Okay, so let's get to the drawing board here. I'm just going to switch my camera over to my iPad here, and I hope I got a better view this time than I've had in the past. I've been trying to work with the angles here, and we'll have a go at this. Let's see, I'll just see my hand as well. So I've done a couple of templates, and I know Tom asked me about this last night. I was a little hesitant to do this because I don't want to lead you into something here. This is, I don't want to lead you somewhere opposite to where you want to go, but it is important to give you kind of a basis as to what to do, and this is the way I do it. So this is basically showing you where I would go. I would, for a cartoony character, let's just take that, take our cartoony. The cartoony character is normally 3.5 heads tall. Now, when I worked on Teddy Ruxpin, all the protagonists, all the good guys, were 3.5 heads tall. That was Teddy Ruxpin, Newton Gimmick, and Grubby were all 3.5 heads tall because they were basically always together, and they were in the same universe. You'd get some of the other antagonists, the bad guys or the enemies, who were different sizes. They could be different shapes or sizes, but for all intents and purposes, we're going to just go with the 3.5 head tall template. And as you'll see, I've done a little ghosting here so that you sort of get an idea of what the character might look like. And as you recall, we were working on a character who was a praying mantis. So this is what I've done, is I've made some shapes here. And I'm going to just in red pencil kind of simplify these shapes a bit. Now, what I've done is, I'll just make that a little thicker there, just thicken the line up here so we can work with this a bit. And I'm just going to zoom in with my fingers here on the screen and use a kind of a thicker, okay, let's open that layer. Let's draw on the right layer. There we go. Okay, so this is like a big Vicks cough drop here for his head, for his or her head. And this is the shape that I've come down to, and kind of a cough drop shape head. For the thorax, or the midsection of the character, and I've got kind of nodes here where the arms and legs go. And this is just a basic thing for you as an artist. And I probably go with the same shape, but maybe a little modified here for the thorax. Maybe a little rounder here because a little more squat here. And then I have a very similar shape here for the abdomen of our praying mantis figure. So there we have 3 basic shapes here. And you see how they kind of, this one here kind of goes right into that shape. So every time you draw this character, you can just, if you can just remember that this is your head number 2 will come to here, and then we'll come to about 3/4 down head number 2 and head distance, and then it'll be about let's see, it'll be almost 2 heads, this whole abdomen part. So there you see, this is about halfway here. Let's say halfway between the whole body, and this is the top, the bottom, and maybe a little more on the bottom part. So you just kind of split it up in your head, divide it up into portions and segments. And if you do this, you'll be able to draw it consistently time after time. And this is great too in animation if you're doing a project where you've got other people doing it too, where you've maybe hired other people to draw the character, and you're basically designing it so that other people can do it. And this is what they will do, is break it down into shapes, and so that they can draw it time after time as well, and draw it easily. And this is something that I learned in animation. It was something that was actually, for me, luckily came very comfortably, because I'd been drawing comics and going by drawing shapes and going by the proportions, and that had come pretty easily to me at that point. So, but it was the animation part, the making things come to life, that was, of course, the challenge for me, and that was a ongoing thing because I hadn't had the basic animation training, but the character design training, that's what I ended up where I ended up in that department there. So anyway, let's explore some of the aspects here of what we've got. So what I've done is I've done our this crosshair thing, and this is basically showing the eye line of the character, and then dividing the character in half. And this is the thing is we are striving to make our character symmetrical. We're striving to keep the character symmetrical because that's something that's familiar to us. And if you're drawing a grotesque monster type character, you might not want to have it symmetrical, and that's your choice. That's your character, right? But for the intents and purposes of creating a character that we can do time after time, that's what I'm striving to do here, keeping the character symmetrical and keeping it the same. And so I think last time for the cartoony version of the praying mantis, we had kind of the big eyes here, met basically in the center. Very big protruding eyes on the main character here. And if you had like a whole family of praying mantises, you could design different characters in this very similar way. So there's your eye line, and you could put an eye here just to show yourself where it would be. And you might want to put a mouth line here, and maybe a mouth line would help you with your design. I've put nodes here for the hand or for the arms, basically, and for where the feet would go, just at the base of the thorax. And so let's place some slim stick-like arms here. We'll maybe make a big elbow joint here. I'm just putting nodes where the joints are, and then again we attempt to do it on this side too. And the good thing is, if you have trouble keeping it symmetrical, which I do, you have some options here. You can take this side and flip it over and create another side. So we'll see if we need that. We'll see if we need to do that. Let's just try to draw the character's hands here. And I notice praying mantises have these little clips at the bottom. We'll just give them that to give them that. Now let's explore the legs here. So what I thought I would just do a couple of stick-like legs here, and maybe a joint for the knee and a joint for the foot here, and just give it a kind of a cartoony foot. So as you can see, I'm just trying to keep the stick-like look of it, because I think that's very prominent in a praying mantis, even in a cartoon version. And then of course the thorax, which would be I remember how they did it in Disney when they did Jiminy Cricket. They made his abdomen into like a top coat, which really worked well. It's a pretty clever way to do it, but in this case we'll just give him and of course his antenna here. So there's kind of your basis for your character here. I think we've got a freeze here in my tablet. So I'll just, what I will do, since we've got that, I will add a layer here and go into the palettes, and I'm going to create a true black line here. So we're going to make it 100% black and put that in our sketching, our brush library here. We're going to go to inking, and my preference these days is the studio pen, because it gives me a good thickness. Okay, now I can zoom in a bit here. It kind of solved itself. And we'll start to fill out some of the details here and just give it a bit of a full line here. And the good thing about our tool, the Procreate program, is that we can play with any of this stuff later on. Like if we don't like what we've done, we can erase it, or we can even just dismiss that whole layer and create something new. Here, we're just going to go into the thorax here. And this will solidify our lines a bit. Oops, I've just added a. Let's redo that. I'm just going to erase this. Oop. Need to take that, amp that down a bit, and then just take that little blob bleep there. And we'll do the same with this arm, and give the keep the joint in there. Now, then the praying hand or the claw of the praying mantis. And optionally, you can add these little hairs or the claws, basically in the mantis hand, or I guess you did the equivalent of what a hand would be. And what I'm doing is just kind of giving a little sense of the joint as well. So now we go down to these legs, these long, sinewy kind of stick-like legs, which are trying to keep it as simple as possible. And of course, any of these things that we're doing are subject to modification too. I just put a little bit extra on there. I want to try to keep it within the confines of the design area. Sorry, we'll go back to our brush tool. Oh, it's so great to work with this software, because you can, if you make a mistake, you just hit undo. I can remember if you were inking a line, it was so stressful to try to keep the line straight and clear, and if you didn't, it would be get out the whiteout. That would be a real adventure then, when you get the whiteout out. But anyway, it was what it was, and we got through it, and trial and error was how we got better. So there's nothing wrong with that, and that's something we still do here too. So we can add our abdomen details here, and our mouth would go about here. Is he happy or sad? I think we would try to keep our main character happy, wouldn't we? So let's give him a smile for his character sheet here. And I will just take this off here. Oh, I missed something here. I missed part of his thorax here. So this gives you a basis for him. Now, has he got clothes? Let's just go back here. Has our character got clothes? That could be something you could do too. You could give him certain clothes. I mean, yeah, I don't know what you could do. It certainly is an option here. It does look a little bare here in this area here where you. I think of characters like Touche Turtle, where he was a turtle and he had kind of a turtly body, and they used that. That was kind of part of his costume, and he had the silly hat. So you could certainly do something like that too. You could put like this is a praying mantis, so if you wanted to, you could give him like a priest's outfit too, if you wanted to, if you're so inclined to do that. And maybe I don't know. It's an idea. It's a thought, what you could do with it, or you could not do that. You could do something else. You could make it you could give him a kind of a collar like that, and the Jiminy Cricket type of idea. Give him an overcoat for his abdomen. Actually, you know what? That really looks like it works. Anyway, it doesn't matter at this point, though. You have your main shape. He's now the next thing I would do is recognize that from the top of his head, the next part of his body goes to about midway, almost 2/3 of a head to the next level till his abdomen, and then his abdomen portion would be. Let's see. Well, let's just write it down here. One head. Let's see. 2/3 of a head for his thorax. And then let's say 2 full heads. Abdomen. Oh, I did it again. Seem to have an obsession with the letter D today. So 2 full heads for the abdomen. So there you go. You got your basis for your character, and I'll just show you. Just maybe Tom, if I can just turn back to the camera. Just wanted to show some gesture drawings I did of the character on a sketch pad. And I just sort of played with some images here. That's one pose here. Just kind of played with some gesture poses and tried to put the character in some situations where I was sketching his or her face. And it could be just an androgynous type character too, where they're not male or female, and there's a kind of an anxious look. And it helped me to, there's a stressed, worried, like shocked look. It kind of got me, helped me to learn the character a bit, and really was a fun exercise for me. And I basically took the things that we've done here on our main drawing and explored them. And that's what you will do if you want to take your character further. Then what you do is you basically put the details on, and you've got the details here on your character design sheet, and you can keep doing your gesture poses and just dressing it up, just filling in the lines and giving them the detail that you need. And that's what you have on your guide here on your character sheet. So let's take that down. And then I made a superhero template too. So remember we had a superhero version of the character as well. I'm just going to set the camera back here again on the tablet, and we'll get to work on that. So I in this case again, now the character design of a superhero, again, it's there is kind of a universal setting for that, and that's an 8.5 heads tall setting for a superhero character. And you'll see let's just zoom in here to our figure, and I've got a basic area of the location of the eye line here, and the splitting the body down the middle, keeping it symmetrical, and I certainly aim to do that here, keeping it symmetrical for our template. And that's ideally where most of the body parts would be, but of course we can modify these don't have to go where they show up here. And I've got it numbered here on the left side, and this is just again, this is what I might do if I was designing a character. This is not necessarily what you would do. Your superheroes might be 50 heads tall. It's not for me to judge what your characters are going to be. And we'll just go to our next level here. Let's take a look at our praying mantis superhero. So again, trying to keep it simple, trying to make it work for the purpose of what we're doing here. So we have one head for the superhero, and I think we had explored that before. Oh, let's make sure I'm on the right layer here. There we go. And that's not the right layer. There we go. Now we're on the right layer. So we're going to let's go back to our drawing tool again I just used Blackburn. I just discovered it because it seems to really be pretty useful. And again, we'll take our head shape to be kind of a cough drop shape again. And I seem to really want to take that head up and make it a little taller than the 8.5 heads tall. And I'm tempted to do this to kind of make the neck wider at the top than at the bottom. Why that is, I don't know. And then I want to make this eye sockets quite large. And I have the eye level here too. And I just kind of want to break down the facial shape here. I'm going to take and maybe a nose where a nose might be here and a mouth about this area here. So I'm trying to find what they would be. So I've got the eye line here. So let's even take that higher, and then we'll make the eye about here. So I'm just giving it like a top eyelid. Eye here. And we can modify this, of course. I think I probably struggle more with these superhero designs because they there's so much more detail in them. I guess that's why, and they can make or break a character. And then we can put the antenna there. And do we need a nose? I don't even think we need a nose. I think he looks better without a nose and just a mouth. We can give him a grim look, or if he's our hero, he could have a smile too. Anyway, let's explore the physique here. I'll just undo that. And I think we were exploring last week the keeping him sleek, a superhero here, and this would be his midsection, or his chest, and you get the beginning of the rib cage here, and into the hips area, the groin, hips area, and again we're going back to this theme of the joints and the stick-like arms and legs, and it's a lot of fun to just explore it. You're going from the rough sketch that you've made, and you're adding details to it. You're purifying it. Oh yeah, that's and at this point, this could be a male or a female character. I mean, you don't have to decide now. Or it could be an androgynous character like our other one was too. Not not defined by its physique as to what its sexual orientation or whatever. It's and then we could have the claws here. We could have them almost in the shape of a human hand even. It's fun to have the very thin thumb here. It could be the thumb-like appendage, and then where the hand would be kind of like the other part of the claw. Fun to play with things like that. And you could have an eye here, or you could have you could explore that. Yeah, what would you do for that? Yeah, we could. I think it helps to give it as many human traits as possible too. So let's have a look at here. We have compared to our normal, that's normal. What am I talking about? This is our typical superhero male shape, and we've modified it to be this very, very unhuman, but very, very similar in a way too. It's hauntingly similar. There's a lot of similar traits to a human body, and that adds to the character, adds to the and you can think too what kind of character this would be. Look at it. What kind of character do you want it to be? What kind of character could it be? This could be a doctor in his race or in his culture that is very, very intelligent and has that look, and maybe a little egotistical. Maybe would like to rule the world or something like that. Or maybe he's trying to save humanity, or here to a hybrid of human, part praying mantis, and feels affinity for humanity and wants to save the world. And it opens your mind to how you could draw them in future drawings. So now I think what I'm going to do now, I kind of like the character without them. And you might even make that a helmet too. Like this could be a helmet of somebody and take that mouth away too. I'm just not liking that much. It could be just a slit here. I'm kind of liking just very simple, just a slit maybe, or maybe a couple of dots for nose, nostrils. I don't know. It just seems to be a little powerful there with that. So what we're going to do now is create a new layer, and we'll go back to our 100% black again. And I'm going to go back to the brush tool and go to inking. And I just love the studio pen. It just seems to be so multi-useful. And going to start inking our character here. And again, this requires a steady hand, and of course you're trying to keep it symmetrical too, as best you can. So I think what I'll do now is, as I do the head structure, give him a very sharp chin structure here. I really like what's happening here in the top part. And we'll add our antenna. And we could modify this to be like a mask that our character's wearing here. And then this is their nostrils. You know, I still don't like putting nostrils on him or her. I still just want to not do that yet. So then we're going to go down to the neck here, which is, as you can see, it's a little higher at the top. And then our clavicle, which is pretty prominent in this character. And we're going to do the shoulders. And it's not very symmetrical, but we'll work on that here now. We'll just try to get that. That's mainly because our main drawing wasn't symmetrical, but we can. Okay, so let's give it a little more. Aim for some more symmetry here. Okay. Maybe a little bit of breastbone here showing, and of course the abdomen here. And I think last week I kind of decided I didn't really want to have a, just make sure I have made that a separate layer here. Didn't want to have the abdomen on the superhero because it just seemed to take the simplicity out of it. And then they could have like a claw-like hand, very small thumb. Oops. Yeah, and you can see me kind of checking the other side to make sure I'm keeping it in symmetry. I'm not doing a perfect job, but I am doing the best I can at this point. And the beauty is that we can modify this at some point. I'm making the legs a little stronger than his arms are, or his or her, because I think I don't know, I think it improves the look of the character. At some point, you're just going by what looks good to you. Like what looks right, what let's see, let's just not liking that leg. Modify that a bit. I'm sorry, I'm really picky when it comes to superheroes. It's not it's not that I don't know what I'm doing, but I go through this, and you will too as you design your character. Let's just have a look at it without the background here. So we've got kind of a basic look to our character, and you'll notice it's distinct from our template here, which is your typical superhero proportions. But it has an interesting look to it too, and you'll notice the legs and the limbs are fairly slim, fairly pronounced appendages here. And of course, you can take time and clean up some of these things too. Let's maybe what I like to do sometimes too is change the eraser tool to be one of the drawing tools, and I can get erase some nice clean cuts here. I've been using this a fair bit lately, but it just saves you time. And in any way you can save time is going to help you as you design your characters. And again, you can clothing on them. I would say a character like this, you could put like a skin tight spacesuit of some kind and maybe a symbol on it, like some confusing symbol like an upside down triangle. Meaning praying mantis. Praying mantis land, the planet of praying mantis. And you could put I don't know, sort of like a Star Trek type costume on him. Have fun with it. Explore what it could be. And maybe you don't like that, maybe you do, but explore it. Explore what it could do for you. Do you want to give him eyes? I thought it would be fun if we just gave him a couple of almonds for eyes. What do you choose for that? It could be. Do you want to end up giving this guy a nose? You could just give him a little nose here. I don't like any of that, so I'm going to take that all away. I really prefer it without anything there. I think that's a great character right there. Very simple, very, and you can certainly do your superhero poses. Build if you practice doing superheroes, just build these features onto your gesture poses, and you'll have a great great character. And I'll just kind of do a review here of what we had. So we started again with our cartoonist template, and I just wanted to just show you how you can get to know a character really well. As I do this, I just want to show you Teddy Ruxpin, who I drew for a year in 1987. And I'm just going to quickly draw a sketch of how I did it. How I did Teddy Ruxpin. So basically he was a circle at the top, and he was like an oval on the next layer. So circle at the top, and then an oval here underneath, coming down to here, splitting the head down the middle. A couple of dots here for the ears. Body coming down here, pear shape, so kind of a roundish shape here. His legs would be about here, and then his feet at the bottom. Oh yeah, it's coming back easily now. Yeah, it's not perfectly. Then he had these little shoulders and his little arms here. And his eye line was right. Well, I guess it would have been right on this line here. Let's just right on this line here. And then we had another circle in here, and that was where his nose went and his mouth. And Teddy was a smiley guy, so you always could give him a little bit of cheek here. And then he wore this costume, which had the button on the side, and that was always a feature that you could add in. And it was like a tunic he wore, and then under the tunic were these little shorts that he wore in the show, and then of course his bare teddy bear legs and feet. And I'll just use a black line here to clarify some of these lines. I like to pull this out when I want to impress my grandkids. I can draw Teddy Ruxpin. I was one of the guys that did it. So, and his little three little hands for his paws, and then this his tunic, his little Teddy shorts, and his feet. I've done a pretty good job of keeping that look anyway. So it shows you how simple it can be, and how repetition and just doing it again and again will give you that. And of course, I drew Teddy hundreds of times in the Teddy Ruxpin series, and I've been asked to draw Teddy Ruxpin many times since, and that's teaching in classes and in public schools and whatnot, and so that's where you want to be when you finally do your drawing. And so that was our first lesson, was that, and then well, let's have a look at our cartoony praying mantis. We did that based on this sketch here, this rough sketch here for our superhero template. This was our rough sketch, and then we went from that to this nice tight character. This looks like a nice like a superhero animation, like Space Ghost or something like that. Would be a good example of that. And there we go. So I think we've pretty much covered everything we can do. All I would suggest beyond this is to sketch and develop even further. And you'll find you might say, wow, I don't even like this. Just by sketching and trying different things, I like this better. So don't hold yourself back. Again, it's an ongoing process. I'm one of these guys that I'm constantly modifying and changing, but eventually you do arrive at something that you're happy with, and that you think that will your audience will respond to best or most. So I think that's about all I have. Tom, I'm going to hand it back to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, that was fantastic. I'm going to just, if anybody has any Q&A, we can pass it over that way. Do want to remind everyone that Jeff, his email is right here. I just have it on the screen. So jeffwilsonmentorship@gmail.com. So as you work on these, feel free to send Jeff an email, maybe send him your sketch or your concepts as you're going through it. And yeah, I think, Jeff definitely would love to see what you guys are up to, and, and follow along. So if you've, gone from week 1 to 2, and we'll take this journey, and you'll be able to have your whole character design, and, be ready to continue, using that character, just as Jeff showed you how you can, once you've designed something like Teddy Ruxpin, it comes back right away, which is that was really cool to see. So, yeah, I'm not. I'm just seeing if there's any Q&A here, but yeah, I think Jeff, maybe I'll just ask you a question as we just to discuss, and yeah, here, let me just pass it over to me, and then I'll bring it over to you. So Jeff, in terms of the templates, just kind of as a guide. It looks like there's a lot of kind of artistic room to move around that. Can you just talk about kind of where you like to go with things in terms of template and then moving away from that? How much do you use a template in your own work, I guess?
Well, I guess I do have like a mental template about in my head where I like to keep a character size. So I do have it's kind of I watched uh, Hanna Barbera cartoons as a kid on TV, so I kind of have that template in my mind as to what I like. I used to watch Warner Brothers too, but I really preferred the Hanna Barbera. I just seemed it seemed to be something. It was very simple for first of all, but the characters seemed to be fun, and it looked like they must have been fun to design. And that's what I've always kind of used is that, and that is the 3.5 heads tall, basically, the 3.5 heads tall template that I've used in my mind, and that's what my basis is. But yours might be Powder Puff Girls or Bob Bob the Builder or a character like that, which might be totally different. The proportions might be quite different. So yeah, and whatever you choose, it will obviously it'll affect a lot of the characters you do. So certainly personal preference has a big part to do with it. And but you were mentioning too creative license and taking it to another level. So you do have like a basis of what you like, but be willing to explore something else, even taking it somewhere where you're not sure you like it, but see what you can make of it. See if you can make it something that you like. And I always do say to artists who ask me, challenge yourself, take yourself to a different place and see where it takes you. And more often than not, you come back to what you're comfortable with. You may take it, but you'll find too that you've explored by exploring that new area, you've brought yourself to a new area that you understand. So definitely there's the area of personal preference as a starting point, but exploring it and taking artistic or creative license to other levels and exploring what they do too. And you may find yourself just coming back to that personal preference, but um, there will be hints and influences that improve your work. So and the main thing is just to keep exploring and keep testing it out. And a lot of people say, "How do you make it look so simple?" Well, it's simple because you worked at it and you developed shortcuts and you developed ways of doing it that are quicker, and that's just comes from sitting down and rolling up your sleeves and working at it. And I can remember on Teddy Ruxpin one point um, we had a lot of drawings. I was doing in the model and prop design department, and then I was also still doing posing. And I remember having to this one scene where I had to pose out all these octopedes on a boat and had to do them in sequence. And I just said, "Wow, I'm going to just try this," and try to draw them by hand. And I had found that I had built the shortcut in my mind from doing it, repetition, time after time after time, and I was able to basically do it in good pencil, all the characters without even really looking at a model sheet anymore. I could do that. So that's the true secret of making it simple is to just work at it and work at making it simple, and that takes hard work. So it's not a very good answer, I know, but it is the answer. You really have to just persist at it and explore the different things to make your work better.
Perfect. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah. I just someone was asking about other exercises. So yeah, we have currently we have creating a superhero, a 5-part series is on our Facebook page that Jeff pre-recorded with Jeff earlier. So that's posted. So definitely check that out. Go to our website and then you'll see our link to our Facebook page, or you can find us on Facebook at the Creator Space. So yeah, definitely. That's all our questions and times for this week. So just want to remind everyone, send Jeff an email if you have any other questions. Check out our, we have our YouTube channel and we have our Facebook page with posts there, but our YouTube channel has these things. And we will have the weeks 3 and 4 coming up. So definitely sign up for that. Make sure you sign up for that so you get the direct links, but all the links are in there. So if you sign up this week, you'll see in your Eventbrite page, there'll be a week 3, week 4 tab. So just keep joining us. And it's the same time next week, Saturday, 10 a.m. Yeah, that's totally perfect. So just want to thank all of our partners in making this project happen. The Canada Council for the Arts, our library partners, Blue Mountains Public Library, Collingwood Public Library, Wasaga Beach Public Library. Again, if you are wishing to access some of the technology, if you're a member of the Blue Mountains Public Library, we have an iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil with Procreate, so you can just take it out and try these exercises out. So that's definitely a cool thing, and we'll continue on. So please join us again next week. Thanks again for Jeff for taking time to do this, and we'll see you all next week. Take care.